Hello everyone, welcome back to our World Explorers map. We're going to continue along working on all of our continents and oceans and different explorers. And I believe last time we did a little bit of work down around Oceania. Now we're going to slide over to Africa. So let's take a look at this continent. I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. And now, Africa has a lot of physical features that we can focus in on today. And starting at the northern part of the continent, you see that small mountain range, right? Well, pretty big mountain range, actually. Those are the Atlas Mountains. So I think I'm going to start off by labeling them, and I think I can probably fit it. I'm going to have to write over those dots a little bit, but I'm going to use all capitals. These are the Atlas Mountains, and you can abbreviate mountains. It's funny, you can see one of the exploration routes goes right through where I'm writing, but maybe I'll go ahead and I could use a purple. I'll just highlight that so that was Rolf, somebody who you can do a little research on that. There's some information on the back of the map too about his travels through northern Africa. See the route right here. Okay, but we're going to focus mostly just on the physical features today. Okay, so we've got the Atlas Mountains, and we've done a few mountain ranges already, so you can add a little color to those, green and brown maybe. Here's some red orange you could throw in. Make them colorful. Now you can see there's a huge desert in North Africa, and that's called the Sahara, which I believe means desert. So all we have to do is write Sahara right across. We'll use big capital letters for that. Okay, and that's a very hot desert. So if we wanted to use on our colder deserts, we used I was thinking maybe we could throw in a little bit of purple for these colder deserts, just to give it a cooler look, you know. But the Sahara is a very hot desert, so we're going to stick with the warm colors like yellow, orange, and red. So maybe do a light brown as well. So very nice light touch, and you don't have to have a real sharp edge to that desert. Now, before I color too much of the desert, though, I do want to label that large river, that very long river, longest river in the world, actually, and that's called the Nile. So let me go ahead and label that before we color too much of the desert. I think I could fit it on this side. I'm going to use all capitals once again. Nile. There's a little bit of a twist and a turn to that river, but maybe I'll just put R period for river. Nile River. Okay, and just a little bit of blue on top of that would be good. There's the delta, the Nile Delta, where it enters into the Mediterranean. I think one of the big mysteries was, where did the Nile start? What was the source of the Nile? I believe this little branch here is called the Blue Nile. I think they might call this section the White Nile, but you can see the source actually. I believe the source is down here where this large lake, which is called Lake Victoria. I think I'll just color in that little series of lakes right there. But this big one right here is Lake Victoria. I'd like to get that label too. Lake Victoria, okay. So now I can go back and do a little bit more on my Sahara, now that I have those things labeled. You can starting to see that a lot of the explorers really relied on water for travel, water routes, either through the oceans or sometimes by rivers. We'll see that more as we get into North America too. A lot of the rivers provided a good way to get around. It's always easier to travel by water than walking over the land, Throwing a little bit of yellow in there. Oh, there's one of the lakes in our activities is called Lake Chad. So I shouldn't forget to color that little tiny lake right there. And I'm going to put like a little leader line down here and write it. Now, I hope you've been checking off things in the activity list. You can see over here I've been checking off a lot of the things that we've done, and I can actually go in there and check off the Sahara. Oh, I forgot to label the Australian desert. Let me do that now. We talked about the different deserts in the Australian desert. Bunch of different ones, but I'm just going to call it the Australian desert. Okay, so you can check that off. We have a bunch of deserts checked off now. Oh, we can also check off the Atlas Mountains, and let's see, the rivers. Nile, we can check off the Nile River. Lake Chad, and Lake Victoria. Okay, so we're getting a few more things checked off here. One of the really big successes of some of these explorers was Vasco da Gama, who was credited with getting all the way around the tip of Africa here. And we won't get into the whole thing, but we won't get into the whole trip, but we can kind of, maybe we could highlight that one. It's nice to highlight these routes as we go along, and just to kind of see some of the bigger, very influential trips. This was a big one because it got around what they call the Cape of Good Hope, and I think we could label it down here. This is called the Cape of Good Hope. Maybe I'll put it right about here, right around the tip of Africa. That's also in our list of activities. And this was a water route to India, so let's just follow it along. You can see how it went around the tip of Africa. There was a little bit of confusion right about here before it went along the coast. And you can see right about here it goes right up towards India. That's kind of fun to highlight that famous explorer's route. Okay. And maybe we can put a little color in the box too. You can work on that at your own pace. Put a little bit of color. Maybe if you want to darken in the letters a little bit first. You can notice I've also done all my dots along the edge of the map. I don't know if you guys have been working on your border, but after putting all my dots, I started to color in a little bit of a yellow in that border pattern that goes around. So little by little, I'm doing a little bit of work on the border, kind of make the map look really, really nice. Okay, now those are things you can work on too. Okay, well, I think that's a pretty good place to stop right now. We got quite a bit of work done on that one continent of Africa, and you'll be doing more research and discussion about Da Gama and maybe some of the explorers around that area. So that's probably a good stopping point right now, and keep up the good work. You're doing great. All right.